from Tantra Foundation. This is first interaction with this instrument and with Carsten. So we had a wonderful evening today of the program, and he started off talking about the full moon, and this is a Rudra-Veena. So this is exactly what is there on the crescent, the crescent moon becoming the full moon. So I just want Carsten to talk about this instrument a little bit of historically, because we know that the Mughal court players, musicians were playing it in the 15th century. And also an aspect which we felt today is faith and devotion towards this instrument. And this is something which I asked Zakirji just a month back, is that when you're playing at the height of ecstasy, there is no difference between you and the instrument. So I would like you to extend on that and just talk about it.
Yeah. So it was a very good Indian question. You packed 3-4 questions in one.
Yes.
So about the history of the instrument, if you want to make it very brief, I mean, as you just introduced, it is the Rudra-Veena. So Raudra, one of the name of Lord Shiva. As mythology tells us that Lord Shiva himself has invented the instrument. Now, let's not go too deep in the mythology, but if you take the history, what we know that the simple types of this instrument, just having a bamboo stick and a half gourd, this is a full one, the Lao, Kumro, and so just a half gourd, that was the first type of instruments. We have some statues where we see a Shivji standing playing that half gourd on the chest, and it's just one string. This is around 1,500 years old, so at least until then we can trace back the ancestor types of this instrument, and as you right mentioned, it developed then later in the structure, got 2 tumbas, full tumbas, got those pardas, the frets, the tuning packs and so on. You could go in all the details, but in the medieval age, basically it became an accompanying instrument of a vocal style called dhrupad. So the dhrupad form, which we know is mainly a vocal style, today we call it often also the mother of Hindustani classical music, because the younger forms which we generally hear today, khayal, tumli, tapa, semi-classical, whatever, all of them are in some or the other way based on the dhrupad, as you could even say in some features in the instrumental build-up, instrument like the sitar, even the tampura. If you take the javari and sings, there are a lot of features which are basically coming from the Rudra-Veena. That's why I say often the mother and the queen of Indian string instruments. And if you take it for the music, the whole structure of alap, jod, jala, as we know today in Hindustani music, how we build up a rag, that basically has come from the Rudra-Veena.
That's a pretty much
it's a vast subject.
Vast subject. And the strings are made of what?
Well, the strings of the Rudra-Veena today, and as most of the string instruments, yeah, I mean, you have steel strings, and then you have something we call phosphor bronze. So it's metal strings. It influences, of course, the sound what we get. See, the main interesting thing on these type of instruments who have this type of a bridge, not necessarily as big, but tampura, sitar, sobaha would have it. They create this kind of a wave sound, which is opposite to, let's say, a guitar. Yeah. A guitar sound has a very pleasant, but a very comparatively short sustained sound. It goes like dung, dung, but what we have here is dung. So that's created specially by this type of a convex bridge, and it has been there in very old types, ancient types of the Veenas, Ekchantri Veena, Alapini Veena. Those instruments have been there, also described in the Shastras, so that's why we know it even today. And well, it has been then developed on the Rudra-Veena, especially because on the Rudra-Veena what we do is we play mainly elaborate alap, the introduction of the rag. And that focuses on the shrutis, on the way of how you can paint the rag with microtonal changes,
yes.
If you want to call it in the Western way of explanation.
So I would like to ask now, what made you interested in this instrument?
Well, there could be many reasons. I could say the first thing, yeah, I know. I mean, of course, naturally this question comes up, why are you playing not another instrument? That I'm asking myself sometimes. See, one thing is there, I believe when an instrumentalist chooses his instrument, for him it becomes his voice, like a vocalist would sing, you know? Yeah, self-expression and basically, of course, we also sing. We sing through the instrument. So when I choose my voice, this was the voice which most came close to what I want to express from my heart. And why it is just this instrument, the way, it's basically your character, your nature. You know, you will tend naturally towards meditation, towards seeing
like that's
life.
what I felt like when you were playing. It's like you were in a meditative state. That's why like little bit of sound it kind of like bothered you a lot because you're kind of in a zone of trance or meditation.
Yeah, naturally. See, this is what actually true for all Hindustani classical music, even for Carnatic music. There is no question. This music comes from that base. It comes from introspection. It comes from people, I strongly believe, who heard even a transcendental sound we call anahatnath.
Anahatana.
Yes.
Anahatanath, so that's also where I put the connection, you know. There must have been yogis, siddhas, rishis, you know, who heard this anahatnath, and they basically created instruments like that, which would represent somewhat what they perceived inside, for those who couldn't connect with it yet, because that sound is available for all of us. This is we can say a mirror in the outside, in the material, for the ahatna, and at the same time what it does, the way how the music is reaching you also as a listener, it focuses the mind. It brings you naturally into a meditative state. That is the, you can say, the first requirement to perceive something like that.
Attention. Absolutely.
So like this is the personification of sound healing. So this music is very healing.
You know, we never call it like that because it naturally happens.
It happens spontaneously.
You know, we don't do something like sound therapy, like which would be very famous in the West, and you make gong, you make yin, and you make gang. I'll just say you come, you sit, empty your mind, this rag is working, and it works of course like a medicine. Even you don't want it, you don't understand what is the grammar of the thing, it works like a medicine. If you at least give that attention. If you don't give that, of course it's difficult. It's like a medicine, if you don't swallow the medicine, not happening. But this thing, really I've seen people experiencing, you can say even inner experiences, you know? And of course,
takes you to a different space of mind. Like when you hear it, you're just like kind of lost.
to states, I would say, you know, I have people who the first time listened in a concert, after it came to me, told me a lot of experience, and then said, I never experienced that in my whole life.
Yes.
And these are, of course, the experiences where I'm like, wow, this is the power of this music. You just sit, let it happen, let the music do its job, and this is happening.
And it has a very sattvic sound. Like it feels like it's like very divine and very godly kind of. Like you would imagine when you play, like it's like you're in the land of Gandharvas or something. It's not human. It's beyond human. I feel like the sound is beyond human. Definitely.
See, it's beyond human because humans are what they are today. Otherwise, it's not at all beyond human because it's made by human, it's played by human. So it's our limitation which we see, but I understand from where you come. It's something which transcends where we are right now, but definitely where we can easily go and where we can perceive things and states of mind which we call divine. But basically, they are human. When you unfold the full potential of a human being.
Yes, and I think just one more point I want to harp on because I'm looking at the freight arrangements. There is some nine-fist sort of distance between the navel and the chakras, the shasha chakra, and which is built into the architecture of the instrument. Is that so?
Well, there is a lot of mythology and symbolism and things what you can have here. Yes, you can understand this as a merudand, basically as a spine, going in the different chakras. I mean, one of the mythology, or what will I say, symbolism, which I really like about the Veena. There are a lot of details which we can't cover right now. For me, you know, it's really like a bridge between the two worlds. You know, it really brings you from that outside to the inside. From the inside again, it brings these things out. Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, beautiful.
Asatoma, Asatoma.
Yeah.
It's all there in the instrument, and I can only, you know, we have so less time now, you know, but in a way, I feel always I live as a dinosaur, something which is out of these days now, out of the time. And on the other hand, I see young people coming, listening, young, old, whatever, who never experienced even classical before, but get struck by that like anything. So that's actually the future where what I see, this is where in this world, it's something we really need.
This is the turning point, I think.
Yeah, I think like with your music, probably more and more people should be aware of this instrument and like the sound it has, and so that it's not something very.
Every time we have this kind of talks, people say we must do something to make it more popular. Yes, people should come to know, and it's a bit strange. I'm coming on stage in Kolkata, such a cultural and musical town, and I have to explain to people what it is, because they saw it only on a picture or in a video or in the museum. That should change, but the main thing what I think, when our perception, our state of mind changes, I always joke about that. You don't need to tell anybody about this instrument. When people become meditative, this will be #1 in the top charts. It will become very popular on its own because people will be drawn to this kind of music. If this is not the case, if we continue to chatter our attention like it is today, TikTok, 30 seconds, this and that, you will never touch this. You will say, go to the museum. It's right.
That's why we said like 3 hours is a minimum over here.
I don't want to fix it on 3 hours. You can do a great thing also in half an hour, but then we need the atmosphere, the attention, the intensity, and that takes us time to do it. Not to talk of just a little bit of a respect if an artist comes.
Yes,
and
and
he
nowadays,
works.
like the people, even when they come for a program, 10 minutes they are looking at the phone. So like you have to really put your mind
deficit disorder.
in this.
So we have to, So it was very nice, and hope we will be having some interactions
we
in
will
the
have
future with
another
Carsten.
Most
chance to
welcome.
hear it again.
Take care.
Absolutely.
This was
Namaskar.
wonderful.
Bye bye.